Enterprise Friday on Enterprise Television. I am Kendi Bodering.
And I am Henry Igwebiking.
Yes, thank God it's Friday and we are so glad to have you on the show today. We will kick off with today's newspaper review before diving into the main conversation of the day. Trust me, you don't want to miss a moment with us. You can join the conversation by dropping your comments, liking, and following us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. So joining us to share the matters at hand is Barrister Evans Ofeli. He's a barrister and also a public affairs analyst. You're always welcome, sir.
Thank you so very much, Barrister. And he joins us from Toronto in Canada. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Yes, thank
Good morning.
you. So let's kickstart today, interestingly, with all that we have from our newspapers and our main conversation also for today. But just before getting into our main conversation, let's take a look at the trendiest events happening in Nigeria, and particularly is in Owerri, in Imo State, where Hope Uzodinma, the executive governor of Imo State, held Imo Economic Summit and invited the big men. Amongst them is former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who came, eulogized the president, of course, praised Nigeria, with so many other things he said. And I'd love us to take a listen, and when we come back, let's do some talking.
Success, investment makes opportunity. IMO. In my opinion, IMO. In my opinion, the Imo State has an absolutely fantastic future. And I think that Nigeria's great days lie ahead of it. The Imo State's great days lie ahead of it. And I think the great days of the historic friendship, partnership, love affair between Britain and Nigeria also lie ahead of us.
We have Boris Johnson, former UK Prime Minister. Barrister, I know you've watched this, it's gone viral now, but for some of us living in Nigeria, what Boris Johnson said is looking a little bit alien to us. He said that Imo State has a fantastic future, that we've exported Keffi to UK and he is here in Nigeria, and so many other things. I'd love you to speak to me. Is this another Mike Arnold as brought in by Reno Mokri, but this time brought in by Hope Uzodinma to Nigeria? Speak to us.
No. Imo State truly have a bright future. This is how we should sound as Nigerians. I mean, this is how we should sound. We should not say because our prospect is largely bedeviled by insurgency and a weak governance from the center and to the sub-regions, we should not then give up hope. I mean, what Boris Johnson said is nothing but the truth. It couldn't have been that we don't have a future. It couldn't have been that Imo State does not have a future or Nigeria does not have a future. That's not the truth. You see, what he came to do is to inspire confidence. That is leadership. And it is expected that those who brought him and those who were out there, former governors and present governors, and even the president of the country should learn something from Boris Johnson. This is how Caucasians operate. Even under serious conditions of hardship, war, and so many issues going on, they never give up. Have you seen an American talk about America before? If you hear an American talk about America, you would think that after heaven is that place, or that place is heaven itself. Even when sometimes they have gone battles, there are so many problems. The people die. If they tell you the amount of people that die in New York every day, you will not believe, or you won't see it in the news in the way people package and they market their country. So this is exactly how we should sound as Nigerians, okay? That despite all our, all our setbacks, Nigeria is a great country. Imo State have a great future. That is the truth by motivation. That aside, I like when he got into the issue of export. He talked about how we export oil and gas, to them, and how they too export whiskey, pharmaceuticals, financial, whatever packages and all that, how they export that to Nigeria. And finally, I finally went further to say that we exported Keffi, but not to them. That is a catch. Yes, that is a catch because Keffi have always belittled Nigeria. She has always made Nigeria look like a waste bin in the eyes of the international community. She has always done that. And one thing she failed to understand is that you cannot erase your ancestry, no matter how stubborn you are, or whether you were born in the UK in 1980, then came back to Nigeria, and then went back to the UK at the age of 16. That is the reason why you think Nigeria is nothing to write home about, okay? That you had a bad experience in Nigeria does not mean you carry it into politics, carry it into your history, carry it into your ancestry and the rest of that. It's a lesson, okay? But Johnson just made it clear that Keffi Badeno is a Nigerian. And you know, I think sometime in July, she said that she cannot identify as a Nigerian, that she's a woman, that she cannot transfer the Nigerian citizenship to her children. She failed there. She got it wrong, but she knows nothing about the Nigerian Constitution. The Nigerian Constitution in section 25, subsection 1C, says if neither parent is a Nigerian, the child is a Nigerian. So by default, by our Constitution, by the formation of our Constitution, her children will remain Nigerian. Their children will remain Nigerian, and her great-grandchildren will also remain Nigerian by the import of our Constitution. You know, you cannot tell the world and tell humanity that God made a mistake. You can't do that. In the face of challenges, you don't betray your country. You embrace the challenges and you look up to the future. That's what Boris Johnson is saying. It's a critical lesson to humanity, not just Nigeria. Okay? That this is, we exported her actually. You understand? We exported her there. And thank God, one person is grateful. A former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is grateful that we exported her there. And the only way she can emerge, the only way she can cling on to that position she's looking up to, is to embrace her Nigerianness and the uniqueness of it. Because the whole world has embraced it except her.
Definitely.
And it's unfortunate that she has failed to understand really where the world is going to. The world is going the Nigerian way. You know, globally, from art to music to science to IT to everything. And she should be grateful for that. She should be grateful for that. We should be the one to strip out that Nigerianness, not her stripping herself of the Nigerianness. So I commend Boris Johnson for making that remark and emphasizing and stressing on that very powerful Nigerian export. Keffi Badeno is Nigerian export to the UK.
All right.
That is it. That is sealed.
Okay, thank you. Also, in a statement, you know, during his speech, that's Boris Johnson, he said something, and he said, okay, let me quote in quotes, "I am perfectly safe in Nigeria." So the question is, what factors, like what could have prompted him to have said that? What factors might have influenced Boris Johnson's confidence in Nigeria's security during his visit?
When we know it is truly not.
Well, yeah, see, you talk from your experience. Okay. People talk from their experience. Those who say they are not safe in Nigeria are speaking from experience. And truly they are not, because they take bus. And when they get to somewhere in Kogi, the bus is hijacked and everybody is kidnapped. Yeah. That's one experience. Nigeria is not a single story. There's another story. Boris Johnson flies from maybe Gatwick or Heathrow Airport, lands in Abuja or Lagos, you know, takes a private jet. Of course, they're not going to take him through the road.
Yes.
Take a private jet, take him from Abuja or Lagos straight to Imo State, and he lands in the airport. And the governor's convoy, with the governor himself, welcomes him and pick him direct. The governor's convoy
VIP.
Cannot be
Yes.
invaded. Yeah, the governor's convoy cannot be invaded by the soldiers and succeed because of the number of security agencies that will follow. Okay?
Yes.
As VIP, and they take him straight to the biggest 5-star hotel in Imo State. And then from there, the governor's convoy takes him down to the event. You understand? That's someone that is perfectly safe. It's perfectly safe. That's the truth. That may not be the story.
Hypocrite, you are being
He's trying to be practical. Barrister is trying to be practical in his movements.
Play the devil's advocate.
Yes.
That may not be the story of everyone. That's not the story of everyone, truly. Okay, but he's speaking from his experience. But you and I know that we have been surrounded by insurgents. We are practically living at the mercy of insurgents because the government is not doing enough to, handle the issue as it should. Okay, but as to whether he's safe or not, he's perfectly safe according to him, and that's how I feel about him too.
Yeah.
There. And I truly do hope that Kemi would listen to that call. Yeah. And I do not know if she would agree or not. But of course, she doesn't have a choice. But of course, she had always refuted.
She's already trying to block her children away from Nigerian citizenship.
Yeah.
But the Nigerian Constitution caught her and reversed that in section 25, sub 1C. So I mean, even her children's children will be Nigerian. She cannot erase her ancestry.
Yes. Definitely, of course, knowing that both parents are even Nigerian. So let's get to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. We have the big story: we will defeat terror, restore order and peace, and that's coming from the new Defense Minister, Christopher Musa. Okay,
so on the top strip we have banks insurance contribution to economy falls 15% to 1.51 trillion naira.
And also still around what we had talking about when we started at Imo Economic Summit, Ndibo, most significant stakeholders in the Nigeria project, and that's coming from Tinubu, as made known by Shetima.
Okay, we also have President nominates Ibaz Zambazu, 63 others as ambassadors.
And also we have appeal court affirms judgment barring VIO from seizing vehicle imposing fines. Barrister, this is your catchment area and I'd love you to help us fleshing that out. Of course, the VIO are about to appeal against that, but speak to us. When that is known or made known by the appeal court, do you think the VIO would listen and respect the orders of the court at this point?
Why wouldn't they listen and respect the order of the court? They can only intimidate those who are not aware of their position in the scheme of things. Their responsibility actually is restricted to the healthiness or otherwise of a vehicle. You understand? It's not even the safety. Road safety take care of issue of safety, issue of seat belt. You have to be on seat belt. Issues like you need to have a fire extinguisher. You need to have so many other things. You understand? But the VIO's responsibility has to do with the safety of the car itself, the worthiness of the car itself. Okay, that's where their responsibility starts and ends. They are not supposed to impound vehicles or extort money from people and do all sorts. Okay, their responsibility is defined by law, and the courts have been making pronouncements as to the extant law that brought them into existence and where their power starts and ends. You know, in Nigeria, there's a lot of confusion with all these law enforcement agencies. Many do not even know where their power starts and ends or their objective. Okay, you know, you find them going outside it. Not too long ago, the road safety also have said that the federal government should allow them to carry rifles. You ask yourself, what do they want to do with rifle? Are they a security outfit or whatsoever? What are they exactly? So you see that confusion of not knowing where their responsibility starts and ends. And that's why in many countries, they don't proliferate those agencies. What they do is that the police handles everything and they departmentalize the police to handle all those issues. So when you see a police dressed in a particular way, you know this one is of this department, and they should take but the Nigerian case is not like that. In the Nigerian case, you have different institutions, and many of them are working at cross purposes because of lack of purpose and lack of understanding of function and objectives. So now the court is making it very clear that this is where your responsibility starts and ends, and you shouldn't go beyond it. And I think it's a good time for us to witness this, to You lay off all the confusions and confusion that we have seen over time on this issue.
All right.
Okay, thank you. So let's just move to another story, still on the Vanguard.
Yeah.
So we have President nominate Ibas, Zambazu, 63 others as ambassadors. So, Barrister, we've seen that the President has nominated 65 ambassadorial nominees. So the question here is, how will this appointment shape Nigeria's foreign relations? Do you think these people would really do, these ambassadors will really shaping the foreign relations?
Yeah, it will largely. Not every person on that list is has been adjudged as incompetent, even though so many of them do not deserve to be on that list, to say the least. The former INEC boss is on that list. What is he doing on that list? He just ended his tenure just ended. He should, for me, they should have allowed him to go and reflect on the elections he has conducted. The elections have brought in controversial leadership, and perhaps let him bruise on it, or maybe write a book or whatsoever, I don't know. But to now hurriedly appoint him again, then Ibas, who was used as the tool for state of emergency in Rivers State, has also found his way on that list. This is a man that almost was of the view that he should not be probed. I think he even went to court to ask that he should not be probed and all that. When they wanted to probe him and all that, that's spent so much money that he could not account for in the River State while he was there 6 months as the administrator. He's now on the list, and so many other persons. So you begin to ask yourself, what exactly is going on? Why we have the career ambassadors, the diplomats, the ones who have considerable experience, why that is commendable. For the other ones, the non-career ambassadors, those ones who got into that list by loyalty or favor or the rest of that, many of them don't deserve to be on that. The likes of Okezek Bazu, for example. What is he doing on that list exactly? You understand? A man that was a governor for 8 years and could not lift a block. Could not lift a block in Abia State. The state was almost collapsing under him. He talked about a scheme that is set up some time ago that in Abia State that time, a pregnant woman will get 500 naira when they give birth, and the rest of that. Those are the kind of persons that will go and much more than that, a diplomat or a would-be diplomat should have good communication skills. So the people on that list, the likes of Okezekwas, do not have such kind of communication skill that warrants for such kind of assignments. Okay. You require a very polished, exposed person who can deliver and all that, who can represent Nigeria in all ramifications, the country on that reference. So, when the president has made his choice, the National Assembly will do the rest. Some of the things I'm saying here is what the National Assembly ought to do, the oversight. Yeah. Not all of them will pass the test anyway, I know that. But it's on record that the president appointed them.
All right. Hysterically, lots of people would wonder why Joe Ibukwe is not on that list. Yul Edochie, who said that, relax, Tinubu will fix Nigeria. Because as at the time, he thought that possibly his name might be amongst those, but of course it's not. So lots of issues there. But let's get to other matters of security, Barrister. We will defeat terror, restore order and peace, the defense minister. What's your take on the defense minister, Christopher Musa, taking over? And do you think he would stand by what he said and ensure that lasting peace comes to Nigeria?
People like that knows the problem. People like that know the problem rather. He's been in the eye of the storm for a long time. He knows exactly where the problem is coming from and what to do to exterminate the problem. But then the question is, will he do it, or will he be allowed to do it? Is he ready to rock the boat or to ruffle feathers? There are a powerful network that sponsors these insurgents, okay, and the bandits. Will he be ready to ruffle feathers with those powers that be and to restore Nigeria? Are we ready to amplify the Nigerian cause over any other primordial or sectorial interests? That is what it is. Not like they don't know where the thing is. Not like it's the political will to deliver Nigeria. That's where the problem is. The kind of will that the Jirika put forth, okay, and send Boko Haram to exile. For 8 months, he dealt with them, killed people he was asked not to kill in their mix. Even though he got into trouble as a result of it, but he did his best. Is this man ready to do that? Will he be ready to take Nigerians' interest and put it far above every other sectorial, primordial interest? That's the question. If he's going to do that, then he's in a good place. It's a good hand to work with. It's a good hand to work with. But if he's going to pander towards those interests and then fail in his responsibility, that would be fatal for Nigeria. These people know what to do.
All right. So we hope that Christopher Musa would do the good job of fixing Nigeria, since he understands the security architecture and the terrain better than anyone else. But just before we leave for this segment, Boris, I'd love you to take on this story, and it's on the Guardian newspaper this morning. You behave more like a political candidate than a president. ADC tells President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Boris, did you see that number of cars already painted and branded with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's picture for 2027 already?
Yes.
Did you see it?
I saw it.
Yes. So which means our president is already gearing up for 2027, despite the issues that we have that he has not resolved, or many more he has even created as a result of his playing politics. So do you buy what ADC is saying, that he is behaving more like a candidate rather than becoming the president that he has allowed himself be?
He's a candidate. That's the truth. Because you see what they are saying, I've said this over and over again. Tinubu cannot govern. That's not his area. And it's unfortunate. He cannot govern anybody. What he knows how to do is politics. That's his area. This is a man that orchestrated the strategy for the first time that broke incumbency in Nigeria in 2015. Plots a political strategy that took Jonathan down. Okay? Before that time, incumbency has never been broken in Nigeria. You understand? That's his area, politics. But you're not asking him to govern. You're wasting your time. That's why you'll never see him anywhere close to governance. This thing you are talking about, his posters, the branded vehicles, started since last year. Just a few weeks after his inauguration as a president, he started campaigning for 2027. Because that is what he understands, that's what he knows how to do. And today, we are seeing branded vehicles, we are seeing posters, we are seeing everything. There are persons who are even telling us that Tinubu has already won 2027 election. And the question is, the one they said he won in 2023, has he delivered? Has he been able to put Nigeria in order, in place? Because he inherited it from a man who does not even know his left from his right. Buhari, who took Nigeria 200 years backward. He inherited Nigeria, and he is not able to put a block on the future of Nigeria and its forward movement. So you can see what the dilemma is. So the ADC, they are not wrong. to say that it's acting like a candidate. It's acting like a candidate, really, because what candidates do now, all of them are scheming now. People are scheming, looking for how to get 2027. And that has been the Nigerian political scene in the last 10 to 15 years. It has always been about the next election. The politician is thinking about the next election, not the next generation. Okay, and that's the problem we're facing. And the ADC aptly captured it. It's acting like a candidate, which is what he is really, than any other thing. Because all aspirants now are all moving towards that candidacy. Because you are aspirant until you win your primaries. So you win your primaries, you become a candidate of that political party. And then before you emerge, leadership. So that's exactly what it's doing. They are right.
All right, that's a textbook example of confusing authority for competence. And that's what President Bola Tinubu has playing out there. But of course, just to let you know that Barrister would still be here to take us on our main conversation for today. That's when we return. Nnamdi Kanu demands urgent transfer from Sokoto prison. In the beat, still Enterprise Friday.
We'll be right back.
Thank you so very much for being back. And if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for today. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader of Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, has asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to order his transfer from the Sokoto Correctional Facility, where he was moved after receiving a life sentence on terrorism charges. He argued that being held over 700 kilometers from Abuja makes it difficult to prepare his appeal, since he needs a personal access to the court registry and because his relatives and legal advisors are all based in Abuja.
Very true. Kanu requested to be moved to a custodial center within Abuja's jurisdiction, or alternatively to the Suleja or Keffi facilities, to enable him to effectively pursue his appeal. But when the case was called, Justice James Omotosho refused to hear the motion because Kanu's brother, Emmanuel, who brought it forward, is not a lawyer and therefore cannot represent him in court.
While that is said, the judge advised Kanu to engage a legal practitioner or seek help from the Legal Aid Council. He also cautioned against misleading statements about the appeal process, explaining that a convict does not need to be physically present to compile court records. The matter was adjourned to December the 8th, 2025. So let's get talking. We still have Barrister Evans Ofeli, who joins us from Toronto in Canada. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for hanging on.
Very well.
Yes. So, Barrister, this is more like a transition from the last time we talked about this. Of course, when it went viral, a lot of people had their say. A lot of comments, about over 600 comments on what you had to say. So let's maybe start from there, then we now crisscross to now. Now, given all the comments that you saw, what's your take on all of them, especially coming from colleagues like you and people, of course, who might not understand better? So speak to us while we transition into the latest gist for today.
Well, I saw a lot of comments. Some persons who were abusing, some persons who understood what the analysis was, what I was saying. So many persons, even some of my classmates at the university were at the comment section. Okay, to let them know we've known this person for a very long time, the rest of that. And it was quality analysis, one that came from a place of law. I didn't see anybody who used law to contradict what I said. People were just talking based on sentiment. And largely so, many of them are not lawyers, okay? So they will not be able to see from the prison from which I see what I was saying and the rest of that. So a lot of comments came from different places. So many people eulogizing, some talking left, right, and center, and the rest of that. But the truth is that it's about the principle of law. It's not about anybody's opinion. Law is not about opinion. It's about procedures. It's about what is laid down and principles and precedents over time. Okay, that is what we follow. Okay, right. So the Nnamdi Kanu's case has since moved from that point to where it is today, because now he has been convicted, as it were, sentenced, okay, to life imprisonment, and then he's at the prison, been transferred to Sokoto as we speak.
All right. Of course, just before we get to that matter, on the comment section, still on what you had analyzed, some people said that they wish you would join the team of Nnamdi Kanu to help him, get out of that trouble he has found himself. And he equally called the lawyers he had as social media lawyers. And we're speaking about Jumofo and the other man there. Do you think this caliber of individuals are truly social media lawyers? Or is it that they, what do you think is the take on what people had to say about that?
There's nothing like social media lawyer. You are either a lawyer or not. I mean, when you say social media, what do they mean by that? You are either a lawyer or not. And if you have been briefed to, take on a case, your responsibility is to go research and present your case. Okay. Those who call, a lot of people call lawyers, social media lawyers, some say charge and bail lawyer, they keep doing all that because the Nigerian state, the people themselves have some kind of problems.
Right.
Okay? Sometimes they just feel that the lawyers are not doing well. That's why the case went the way it went and the rest. I read comments, even lawyers used to do that. You understand? The lawyers, Aloy Malfa and Maxwell, okay, they may not be SCN, okay, they may not be, but to say that they do not know the law is false. They know exactly what they're doing and they did their best. You understand? Right. The lawyer that represented before, they did their part. And it's wrong actually to come out to say that they are social media lawyers or they are using it to boost their social media page or the rest of that. That's very, very unfair to persons who had worked day and night, put this case together, got it to the point where they got it to and the rest of that, advise adequately and all that. At the point when Nnamdi Kanu says defending himself, I mean, you couldn't have said that they are social media lawyer. I don't buy that kind of expression. They are lawyers that are called to the bar. They are competent. They did their best, and if the client feels that what they are doing is not enough and took over the case, then so be it.
Okay.
It does not in any way diminish them. I mean, these are very passionate lawyers who have to even join a protest in a case that they are involved in. I mean, and you call them that. I don't think Nigerians are fair to lawyers. I don't think so.
Okay, but then again, right? Do you think Kanu is Kanu legally entitled to request a transfer closer to Abuja for the purpose of preparing his appeal?
You can approach the court for any. You see, once you are aggrieved, okay, and you want the court to do something for you, you file a motion, you file an application before the court, and come to court. But you have to. The motion cannot be moved by a non-lawyer. That's the truth. The motion cannot be moved by a non-lawyer. You must have a lawyer to move the motion. Like James Omotosho told the brother, he said, you cannot move the motion because you are not a lawyer. And even if we say we want to, it will take you the next 6 years so you won't become a lawyer and whatever anything you want to do. So I think Nnamdi Kanu, his family members and and loved ones
Yeah.
should desist from this idea of we are going to do the case ourselves. We're going to do the case ourselves. I'm very, very intelligent. Therefore, I can defend myself. Stop that. Law is not about intelligence. It's about procedures that you can never know if you're not a lawyer. Stop it. Let a lawyer make that application before the court. It's a lawyer that is trained for that purpose. And let him undertake it. The result will actually come out different if a lawyer is doing the case. That's his job. This thing about I can argue. Because see, the law will tell you that you can defend yourself, but what the law will not tell you is that you will get stuck when you are doing that. And the result will be very, very devastating. So let the lawyer move that motion. You see, had it been there was a lawyer that presented that motion before the court, that motion would have been moved on that day. And the court would have adjourned for room. And see what they can do to help him move closer to the appeal that he wants to do. 700 kilometers away. It's quite, everybody know that. And the court also went as far as saying that the Nnamdi Kanu itself is not required in court to compile appeal. It's not. You understand? What I see there is that the family don't like the idea of keeping him in Sokoto because Sokoto is too far for visitation, to take food to him, medications and all that. It's too far. They will incur a lot of expenses doing that, and coupled with the insecurity challenge in Nigeria. Those are the issues that are tenable. Those are the tenable issues there. Because his presence is not actually needed in court to prepare for his appeal, to compile records or to do whatever it is. Okay? So that application is timeless. I urge the court to hear it in its favor, even though we cannot preempt the court. But I urge the court to do something about that because of the distance, if not for anything, for the distance, and in the interest of justice. To bring him closer home to where his loved ones can reach out to him, take food to him, take medication to him, console him, okay, and put him in the right frame of mind for the appeal that is coming forth. That is what I think. But the family has to go about it the right way. They should go about it the right way. Allow the lawyers to work on this case. Don't call them consultants. Let them work on the case and get this issue done once and for all.
All right. So, in the interest of justice and with your experience, do you think you see any light at the end of the tunnel? I do not know what is in the minds of George Omotosho at this point, but it is looking to me like all he is asking for, possibly, is for Nnamdi Kanu to have some form of remorse. And maybe he might start acting on it. But what's your take with your experience, especially knowing that you said the law is not intelligence, but following the procedure?
Yes, now when you are going on appeal, you will bring your motion to the same court that delivered the judgment. Okay, so with those appeals, with those issues filed, they added this particular one. They added this particular one so for him to be taken to a better place. Okay. The time for remorse and all that Nnamdi Kanu ought to have shown in court for whatever accusation they accuse him of, and that one has passed.
It has expired.
It has passed. It has passed. It's been convicted already. Wow. Okay, that one, you see, when there's during criminal trial, the judge is not just looking at the case, he's also looking at the countenance of the defendant. The countenance of the defendant cannot exonerate him, but the countenance of the defendant, if he's remorseful, can mitigate the penalty, can mitigate the sentence, can reduce the harshness of whatever it is that would have made. So it's at that point of trial that this issue of being remorseful, and the rest of that would have played a role. When judgment has been delivered, it's been delivered, okay, and that is it. So whether there will be light at the end of the tunnel, I believe that the motion will be heard and be heard positive. And I believe that he will be taken to somewhere closer to his point of appeal. And that is what it should be. There's no point persecuting him after conviction. There's no point. There's no point. It's pointless to persecute a man after you have convicted him.
So sorry for interjecting. When you say persecution, is sending to Sokoto what you are talking about? Could that be regarded as a persecution?
Yeah, because if you look at the condition, Sokoto, the relatives have to assess him in prison. Okay? You cannot eat the food in Nigerian prison. Don't just go there. You can't. The only people who eat it are people who have no one to bring food for them and all that. So the family will need to be close to so that they can take things to him. Medications and all that. And when you say so they have to take flights anytime they want to see him and all. It's not convenient, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And a convict still have a right under the law to ask that the facility where it's kept is not close to his relatives, it's not close to his people, it's not convenient to even go on his continue his appeal and the rest of that. You have a right to do so. You have a right. Whether the right to be respected or not is a different thing entirely. Because you cannot force it. You can only make an application and give reasons why you are doing that. And if the reasons are compelling enough and they are logical and the court believes in it, the court will act on it. That is it. So what I'm saying in effect is, where he is now, it's really difficult for him to access certain facility and help to project, even with his case and his well-being. So that application is like, set forth to address that issue. That his location be changed, because the judge already said he should not be taken to Kuje prison. So we have Suleja prison and we have another one. I think Suleja, is it Keffi also?
Yeah, Keffi.
Keffi.
Yes. So in the application, they have suggested that Suleja or Keffi, because the judge specifically says he should not go to Kuje. So Suleja, Keffi, those are close places, where, you can have this. So that because his people are in Abuja, both lawyers, families, and all that, then they can assess him easily.
But I'm curious, really. I'm actually curious. Do you think all of this would have mattered if Nnamdi Kanu was prosecuted maybe in Kenya or any other country outside of Nigeria? Would the family be saying all of this? Would they be bringing this to the table if he was prosecuted like Henry Oka in South Africa, where he's serving his term now?
He was not prosecuted in South Africa, in Kenya. Since he's prosecuted here, and ever since he has been in detention, the lawyers have visited, families have visited, and the rest of that. They still want to continue to do that. If they had prosecuted him in Kenya, all this would not have been brought to the table. I understand. I know what you are saying. You understand? I know what you are saying. If there were no appeal also, I do not think the lawyers would be making such demands and be making such all that. Okay? But there's an appeal. They need to reach him, family members to reach him, and the rest of that. So it's important they make that demand. Whether the court, will grant it or not, it's a different thing entirely.
All right.
Okay.
You just have to try.
Okay, thank you. So does Kanu's transfer to Sokoto appear administrative or just politically motivated? Do you think it's politically motivated?
Well, I don't know what inspired the transfer.
Okay.
But the court can do something about it. Because once the court has delivered judgment and hand over to the prison warders, they take it off from there.
Yeah, okay.
You understand? But the court can make an order. The court can make an order to the correctional center to do X, Y, Z. You understand?
Yeah.
Even the correctional center themselves can take decisions administratively. You understand?
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, you see that the case, you see that the correctional facility, they are a defendant now in the application. So, and this is the argument. The correctional facility, we don't know whether they are filing any counter affidavit to say that no, don't take him anywhere. This way we want him. Sometimes they may file, sometimes they will not even file anything. They will just ask the court to take a decision on the matter. I mean, the correctional center file counter affidavit. What reason do they have really to file a counter affidavit? If they want to, they can, but it is not necessary. He has been convicted. Just give him some, some channel to enhance his well-being. That's what they're asking for.
All right.
Okay.
But they should do the right thing.
All right.
The right thing.
So just before we end for today, for the want of time, I would love us to finally look at this particular issue, because everything is rested on the table of the president, either granting him clemency or not. But of course, we've seen Alex Oti do a visit to Nnamdi Kanu. He's been criticized, however, for doing that, because lots of people have said, why should an elected governor visit someone that has been incarcerated on the term of terrorism? And also Masob had decried Igbo politicians' silence on Kanu's ordeal. So do you think that the Igbo community, the Igbo demographics, especially the politicians and some elites, I'm talking about money bags, do you think they are indifferent about the incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu? Do you think they feel this is good for the economy of the southeast of Nigeria, knowing that what he had said had contributed to the failure of businesses in the southeast of Nigeria, had led to people dying unnecessarily, and so on? What's your take on the Igbo man's indifference to a large extent to Nnamdi Kanu's incarceration?
The Igbos are divided on this issue. There are many of them who are aggrieved, who lost loved ones based on Nnamdi Kanu's activities. And so those ones are largely indifferent about his incarceration, whether they take him to Sokoto, take him to Abuja. They are not interested. They are not interested because, according to them, his activity led to so many crises. The businessmen who had lost one or two things, who trace it to his activities, also those ones are very different. But there are some who are of the view that Nnamdi Kanu has not committed any offense that warrants such conviction. And there are many of them. And they should not, no one should, put him under the said condition he is. Okay? So many of them weren't happy on the day of that conviction. Some journalists went out to take voice pop and the rest of that, and people were silent, people were sad. A lot of people. But there's also a group that came out to talk about justice for those who lost their life as a result of the activities of the IPOB. Okay? And that is not all of them that ascribe to the Nnamdi Kanu's pursuit. And they should be allowed to be their own person and the rest of that. So we've seen that we've seen that people on both sides, when people call for justice for Nnamdi Kanu, some persons also are calling for justice for those who may have been affected as a result of the activities of IPOB and the sit-at-home order. The resultant effect, the economic effect, the social and political effect of sin. So you always find people in two divides or three divides on issues like this. And it's not then to be vilified. Each divide or all divides should not be vilified. People are talking from their own experiences, and that should be respected. We can respect that, we can live with that. But ultimately, there should be a common ground. There should be a common ground where the issues are looked at objectively. And looking at it objectively would mean to see that no matter what it is, everyone must at some point come to that alignment where they have to stand for what is just and right for the Ndigbos.
All right. Thank you so very much, Barrister. This is looking more like the Ken Saro-Wiwa ordeal when he was killed. The families of the chiefs that were killed as a result of what they felt Ken Saro-Wiwa, made known, were equally very angry. When Ken Saro-Wiwa was granted the opportunity by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he was on all that. The people who lost their fathers, the chiefs, were equally not happy. But I think that they are finding a common ground now. Both the Ken Saro-Wiwas and the chiefs, sons and daughters are coming together now to make peace for themselves. So I'd love to believe that might equally happen in the Southeast. People have lost loved ones. People have lost businesses. There's a viral video actually of young children in primary school that went to school on a sit-at-home. And those IPOB boys came to the school and started flogging them. In fact, with the principal, the teacher, they all lay down on the ground and they were flogging them like it was a brutish, society. It wasn't looking very, very good. And those children, the trauma, they will not forget it for a very long time.
They would
and
never.
some of them will trace it to Nnamdi Kanu.
Exactly.
Because
so it
if
be
not
like
for
a
Nnamdi
stigma.
Kanu,
And
people who have missed exams, WAEC, that was supposed to hold on a sit-at-home day. Lots of them lost that opportunity, English, maths, and so many others. So
there's so many different issues there. Anyway.
All right, but that's just about the time we have. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for joining us and clarifying what we have.
My pleasure.
All right, beautiful. So that's just about the time, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to believe you enjoyed our show just like we did right here in our studios. But please do well to visit us. You can catch up when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like and rewatch this, if you may, when you visit us at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike.
And I am Kendi Bodrin.
Have yourself a splendid beginning of the weekend, and God bless you.
God bless Nigeria. Bye for now.